From WNDU, Weather Authority Mike Hoffman has your Storm Team 16 forecast.
And this line of thunderstorms developed over central Illinois, north central Illinois, right after the 6 o'clock show, and it's been racing eastward now. It actually doesn't look as bad as it did farther west in Illinois, but nonetheless, the part right now moving into the South Bend area is the strongest part of it. So most of St. Joe County, most of Elkhart County, and the southern part of Cass County under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. Also some pretty heavy thunderstorms you can see up around St. Joe. Look at all the lightning with these storms. Now, as you can see, the rotation that we showed you off the top of the show, the weak rotation, is no longer showing up on the on 16 Doppler max. So that's always some good news. But I did want to track out this leading edge because it's really racing east-northeast at about 45 miles per hour. So it's in South Bend right now, but puts it in Elkhart in about 21 minutes, 37 minutes in Goshen, about 59 minutes, all the way into Howell. So this is going to be racing into the LaGrange area within the hour. So these storms are really moving quickly. Let's go to the St. Joe sky view. It's pouring there right now. It has been over the last half hour. Lots of thunder and lightning so far, 64 degrees. You can see how things really cool down about 10 degrees because of these thunderstorms. It hadn't cooled down quite yet in South Bend. You can see our camera shaking though, so there are strong winds. We've only had one report of some damage, and it's fairly minor damage in the Michigan City area. We're still watching for things, but the rest of the numbers will show the humidity 73%, wind south-southwesterly at 15. That was at the top of the hour. It's obviously stronger than that right now if it's shaking our camera like that. We're also getting reports of a lot of tree limbs down in the Buchanan area. So this storm is definitely causing some at least minor damage in places, and that's kind of what we're expecting. We're hoping that there's nothing worse than tree limbs down, large tree limbs down, that type of a thing. Temperatures in the 70s, you can see, except where it's already cooled down with the thunderstorms coming in. They will definitely cool things down. Here's what came through this afternoon. Now you'll notice how it was all dry across Illinois, and all of a sudden right there, that line developed over northwestern Illinois, and it's now racing through the area. I kind of expect these to weaken as we head through the rest of the night as they come our way. This severe thunderstorm watch is only for this line, and it's until 2 a.m., which means it's probably going to be canceled early. Here's the way things shape up then. We are looking at a chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms for the day tomorrow. Future track showing the showers and thunderstorms coming on through, and you can see how it keeps them there until about 2 a.m., and then the front kind of comes in 7 a.m., Not too much going on, partly sunny skies. The front kind of hangs around though, so especially in our northern areas tomorrow afternoon, could be a pop-up shower or thunderstorm. Future track showing that, and then the whole front moves to the north, so we really expect Thursday to be dry, even though future track showing a couple of hit and miss activity there during the afternoon. We expect it'll probably be dry, but as the front starts to come our way, much better chance for showers and thunderstorms as we head into the day on Friday, even in the morning and perhaps again in the afternoon. Here's my Storm Team 16 forecast for all of Michiana for tonight. Heavy thunderstorms rolling through and then ending, remaining humid though, low down to 64. Tomorrow warm and humid, thunderstorm in spots, high of 86. Tomorrow night partly cloudy, low down to 68. And a 7-day forecast shows that next chance for thunderstorms coming in Friday and especially on Saturday. Could kind of be a soggy beginning to the weekend. Kim Birchfield from Elkhart, the latest winner of a Storm Team 16 umbrella. We'll be contacting Kim about her umbrella, and if you'd like to enter, be sure to watch Newscenter 16. We may announce your name. Frank will be giving away 2 more umbrellas tomorrow morning, and we'll be back with more news and sports coming up.
Frank Waugh has your Storm Team 16 forecast.
Very busy morning across Michiana. South Bend schools closed. Penn Harris Madison on a 2-hour delay this morning. Elkhart schools on a 2-hour delay. Mishawaka, you're in session as usual.
Yeah, we've heard from some people saying, you know, this is so frustrating because so many kids are trying to navigate sidewalks that have not been shoveled and roads that have not been plowed.
Be careful. Drivers, watch out for kids that are still going to school this morning. Parents, you know, if you can, walk with your kids to
do your best to try to help them get there.
Try to drive them there. It is a messy morning. Snow totals so far, about 6 to 12 inches shaded there in our darkest color across much of Michiana. Seeing totals like that, 3 to 6 inches to the north and east. That does include LaGrange, northeastern Cass County. You head further to the north and east, a lesser amount. So this storm system shifted just a little bit, bringing a bit more snow to northern Cass County and northern Berrien County. than we initially thought. Let's take a look at how things stand this morning. We've got pictures coming in. We've got live video from outside with our Skyview 16 camera. This is 9:33. You can see traffic moving along this morning. It was very snow-packed and drifted in places. Right now, it looks like cars moving around without too many problems. 28 on the thermometer. North winds right now at 16. Upper 20s all across Michiana. You factor in the wind, though, it feels more like 16 degrees. So bundle up as you head outside this morning. Take a look at my Facebook page. We've had some great photos sent in early this morning. There are those snow totals, 6 to 12 inches across Michiana. Satellite and radar pictures showing the storm system pulling away from us. My Facebook page, search for meteorologist Frank Wah. Hit that like button while you're there. We've had some fantastic photos coming in. This one comes in from Christy. 8 inches in Stevensville this morning. She measured that at 6 a.m. This is the kind of photo we need. Shows us, or excuse me, I said 6 inches. That is 8 inches there in Stevensville. This one here coming in from Clunette, 9 inches, and notice it hanging off of the roof. This is very heavy snow. Look at this. This is a cool picture. This is from Michael, 10 inches. This is south of the bypass. They've got the ruler there on the picnic table in the backyard. Christy showed this. Those are her footprints from 6 o'clock last night, so pretty well covered up. Jill Larson posted this one in Goshen. Notice the tire tracks. Good deal of snow there in the road. Let's take a look here at 16 Doppler Max, and we can show you that we are snow-free at this point. Satellite and radar picture shows the system pulling away from us. That is good news as you get outside and plan your day. That satellite.
Let us know, though, if they need to do that. It's a crawl right now on the bypass, so keep that in mind. Let's go out to Kate Chappell. She is live in downtown South Bend. Earlier, Kate, you were showing us a very important picture that tells the story this morning where they've cleared the snow. There's ice underneath.
Absolutely. That snow pretty much cleared downtown South Bend. We're at the corner of Jefferson and St. Joe, and you can see right here, definitely a slick spot, even just on this road right here. And you can imagine that's similar all throughout the area. So that's going to be important. Take some extra time this morning as you're driving out on those roads. Remember, main roads are pretty much clear as far as snow piles and accumulation off the side of the road, but that layer of ice is still there. This morning, clearing off my own car, it seemed like there was at least a foot of snow on there, and it's that heavier snow. You can see right here, it's not as powdery as it has been in the past. This is kind of some thicker snow, so definitely give yourself that extra time if you do have to head out this morning. It's rough. It's definitely walking out there, trudging through the snow is not fun. So I can understand why some of those schools are closed this morning. So you are just going to want to take some time, whether you're walking or driving. I saw someone walking downtown just a few minutes ago. They had their boots on and their shoes in the other. So that's a good tip to take with you this morning. Make sure you have those boots. It's also not as cold out here as it has been earlier parts of the winter, but it's definitely still chilly. So if your kids are heading outside today, make sure everyone's bundled up. And of course, if you are hitting the roads, can see traffic picking up a little bit down here, just take that extra time. That's the most important thing this morning. Extra time. Can see a little bit of snow kicking out from those tires. So give yourself that extra stopping distance and be careful of some of that hidden ice. I will send it back to you guys, but Frank, you know, we're downtown. I can see some of these clovers out here preparing us for St. Patrick's Day. It's March. I'm really hoping that this is the last major snowfall we see this season. I'm ready for spring.
You're not the only one hoping that. You know, we've had some reports coming in this morning of drifting, especially in rural locations. What have you seen downtown? You've got a lot of buildings there. Maybe you're more protected. Have you seen any drifting downtown?
There is a little bit of a breeze, a little bit of wind going on, not terrible, and not as much drifting as some of those rural areas like you're saying. Here, most of that snow just pushed up in big piles, but that's from the plows, not the drifts. Another thing I did notice, though, make sure you clear your car off completely. Some of that snow, even though it is a little bit heavier, kind of running off the cars and hitting cars behind them. So that'll be another thing to keep in mind this morning as you're hitting the roads and clearing off your car before you head out.
Obviously, that's also important for your own safety, so it's not coming off the hood, blocking your vision. Be a good driver and friend to everybody else on the road and clear off your car.
Absolutely. Good etiquette for sure.
Definitely.
All right, thanks, Kate.
Kate Chappell reporting live. She did touch on something, you know, the plows got the heaps of snow.
Yeah, good luck getting out of your car.
Yeah, that might be tough also at the end of your driveway too,
Yeah.
so keep that in mind.
It's hard to believe that we have to worry about storm spotter training, but we have to do it before the storms start hitting, and so this is a good time to do it. So for St. Joe County, this is next Monday. There are multiple tornado warnings. We know there have been some touchdowns already. This is one of those setups where you could actually see a strong EF3 or higher tornado out of this as it comes toward the east, and they could be something that lasts for a long time. In other words, they may go 20, 30 miles long in length, which is a tremendous tornado. So this is one of those days where you need to pay close attention, go over with your family exactly what's going on, and when you get a warning, it's not all coming our way, obviously, but all coming toward Indiana and southwestern Michigan, and that's what we have to watch. So coming back to our area, right now we're okay. We're just seeing some showers, but over the next 3 hours or so, we expect this line to come quickly across Michiana. When the line starts to get into our area, and we start to see real evidence of damaging winds coming in or tornadoes coming in, we will stay on the air continuously for you. We will be on Facebook and all the other social media at all of our different Facebook pages. We'll be streaming online at WNDU.com. So keep that in mind. As we put this into motion, you can see how quickly this is moving east. I mean, these pictures are every 5 minutes and you can hardly even track them. It's just like big blobs just racing across the screen. Yeah, go ahead, Cindy.
Madeiryville Fire Department reports tornado on the ground at...
Oh, goodness. Okay.
I'm not sure if it's 200 south, near 421 north of State Road 14.
Okay, that's very close to Madeiryville.
Yeah.
There's County Road 130. If we zoom in a little bit farther, what county road did you say?
It says north of State Road 14.
So there's 14, 421.
I think there's a typo in the text here. It said 2007 near 421, so I'm thinking there's a typo. But
okay, it probably is. I would guesstimate from this picture, though, that it's very close to Madeiryville at this point, right there.
And it looks like now there is a tornado warning now in effect for Fulton County until 3:30. That just came down the wire, too.
Did they? Oh, yes, that's from the southern storm. Okay,
Correct.
so we have two potential. One tornado is on the ground. We're gonna take the word of the fire department there in Madeiryville that this is a tornado on the ground, probably just crossed US 421, very close to Madeiryville. We don't know exactly where that is, but that is moving off to the east-northeast very rapidly. So if you live in this tornado warning area, I'm going to track this out for you right now, as a matter of fact. So let me go to the computer here and get it tracking for you and see what's going on, because we want to try and alert you as to when this may come. Now, we're going to use a cone in this case because we can actually track a specific spot. So we're going to go from right there all the way east-northeast, and again, it's moving so fast. Oops. We'll have to do that one again. It's moving so fast that it's tough to track when you zoom in this far because you can see it doesn't always show it out quite so quickly. So if this tornado would remain on the ground, it would put it in Winnemac, or close to there, probably north of there, in about 17 minutes or so. Monterey in 27, Culver in 32. Now that's pretty far out, so I don't want to start talking about these other places too quickly here just because of that. Southern storm system, though, let's track this one out as well, and it appears to be pretty close to Monticello at this point, so if we track that off to the northeast rapidly, you can see that would put it in Royal Center in less than 16 minutes, I think. Lucerne 22.
I posted another picture. It's up if you want to go to the
sure,
next
let's
scene.
Go to that. So
this is from Sawyer, Michigan, and this is
okay.
It looks like a big pine tree that was actually cracked in half because some of the winds that were anywhere from about 60 to 70 miles per hour.
Wow, that's a big tree there too. Looks like it. Okay. No, again, these are nasty storms. I think we're going to see a lot of pictures like this, and thanks for all of you who are sending us pictures. It obviously helps to keep other people out ahead of this line of thunderstorms a little bit safer, because they can actually see what the storms have done off to the west.
We may not be getting the big tornadoes like they saw a couple perhaps in Illinois, but we are still getting strong enough winds to cause damage, despite the fact that we don't have a lot of leaves on the trees. It could have been a lot worse. Imagine if this were in the middle of June.
Yes, I totally agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mike, thanks. Lots of chainsaws, trash bags, and rakes are being put to use today. Plenty of people woke up to find debris from last night's storm in their yards. Some of it also includes some major damage, like uprooted trees and downed power lines. Newscenter 16's Stephanie Stang is live in South Bend, where the cleanup efforts continue. And Steph, some big trees fell pretty hard last night.
That's right, Terry. Take a look at this tree here. Uprooted about 11 o'clock last night. It took some power lines down with it, and then it fell on top of this house. Thankfully, though, crews have been working hard. They pulled the tree off of the house, chopped it up into small pieces, and cleanup crews have been working all day long to clean up around the area. These are the sounds that woke up this neighborhood.
That's all I mainly heard was the thunder and lightning, and then the electricity triggered off a couple times.
Storm started rolling in just before midnight.
Yep, I knew there was a storm going on, and I mean it was coming down very, very hard, and the wind was blowing. But I didn't think it was significant enough to take down any trees, but apparently it was. I've heard the chainsaws going across the river too.
It hit different parts of Michiana, cutting off electricity and downing trees.
And then it just, it was bigger, louder. And it didn't last for more than a minute, I would say. Minute and a half.
By early morning, many were already cleaning up and clearing away what they could, especially Norma Hedman, who got trapped by a tree when hers fell across her driveway.
Right. So I have to have somebody come out and cut it up so I can get out of my drive.
Canopy on my boat blew off. I'm going to be busy today. Just trying to pick up, clean up. I'm sure like a lot of other people are around the South Bend, Mishawaka area.
And they have been busy cleaning up today, but an unlucky situation here for the landlord that owns this house. From what I've been told by the neighbors, he just remodeled the entire house, and he also had one of the large trees in this area cut down and decided to cut down apparently the wrong tree, because the other large tree here decided it would fall last night. So apparently unlucky situation, but no one was injured that was living in this house. Also, I do want to note that power was just recently restored within the past 10 minutes here on Howard Street. We're across the street from the Howard Street Food Mart, thankfully, because I've had about a dozen people come up to us within the past 10 minutes and ask, when is power going to be on? Because we had utility crews behind us here for about the past half hour working on the power lines, as you can see above me here, that have been restored. So power is back on in this area of the South Bend.
All right, so at least a little bit of good news there. Things look pretty bad. Is this the worst of the damage in our area?
No, it's not. From what I've been told, the south side of the city has the worst of the damage. About an hour ago, 1,300 customers, according to I&M, were without power. That number is dwindling, of course, but some people are still without power, probably on the south side of the city.
All right, Stephanie Stang reporting live tonight from South Bend's northeast side. Thanks, Steph.
We're right here on 31, just off the 20 bypass. Traffic is moving about, I would say, 15 to 20 miles an hour. We've seen 4 snowplows go by today, and I don't know if you can see this, but Brandon's going to show you the texture of the snow just on my glove. It's almost like frozen mist. So visibility is really, it's decreased. I would give yourself maybe 20 minutes extra time today, just because the snow, as it hits the windshield, seems like there's a little bit of freezing on the windshield. So when you want to clean off your car, you definitely want to heat that up really nice. Keep your heat on really high to make sure it melts some of that precipitation off. Right now, we're getting a lot of reports.
We apologize for that.
Can you hear me, Tricia? At the moment that we lost you, we had a flash of lightning. So it looks like, and Frank, you would know better than I what this is called, thunder snow. I've never actually heard that before, but I heard a crack of thunder. And right now, if you can see behind me, this truck is moving really, really slowly. We had basically, at the moment that we had that thunder crack, just almost like a downpour of snow, almost if you were in a heavy rainstorm, the snow equivalent of that.
All right, stay safe out there, guys. I'd go ahead and put the mask down on the truck. But yeah, you could have some lightning out there. I just took a look over at 16 Doppler max.
Once we get dark, everything's going to stick, and temperatures are in the upper 20s, and this snow is going to last through the evening the way it looks. You can see it's it's snowing everywhere on 16 Doppler Max. So here's my weather headlines. Heavy snow is obviously the biggest part of the weather. There'll be some blowing snow in the outlying areas, but because it's a fairly wet snow, it won't blow around a lot, I don't think. But the key thing is, and this will keep us from getting too much snow, is it's not going to last real long. It looks like it'll begin to taper off quickly after 11 or 12 o'clock this evening. So most of this snow is coming before midnight. We'll have more on the forecast, let you know how much we're expecting where you live coming up.
Mike, thanks. Of course, we are in the heart of the afternoon rush hour, and doesn't it figure we're also smack dab in the middle of a late winter snowstorm. Hundreds of plows are spread across our 10-county viewing area from Stevensville to Shipshewana, and if you didn't think that the roads were slick and could cause accidents, Kevin Lewis is standing by at State Road 933 with some hard evidence that those roads are slick. Kevin.
Isn't that the truth, Terry? We talked to you at 5 o'clock. I walked back out here around 5:25, and wouldn't you know, we've got an accident blocking one of the northbound lanes right here at 933 and Door Road near the Holy Cross College entrance. Doesn't appear to be any injuries in this accident, but that blue Lincoln with heavy front end damage blocking a northern lane. Like you said, Terry, this proof in and of itself why you need to drive nice and slow with conditions like this. Mike, Cindy, and Frank were all saying that the southern counties were going to get hit the hardest. And while it's bad here in St. Joe County, it's even worse in Stark, Pulaski, Fulton counties.
Some folks had a chance to head outside and try to take a look for Comet Pan stars, and some folks actually got a picture of it.
And I had the pleasure this evening of talking to the Interra Ag Appreciation Banquet in Wakarusa this evening, and of course a lot of folks there have agricultural or farming interests, and they are wondering about this coming season. Well, I can tell you we're starting off completely opposite of what we did last season when we ended up in a drought. Last year it was warm. This year, as we head into spring, we're looking at snow in central Indiana as farther north. Another thing we've been talking about all week, if you've looked at my 16-day forecast, it is extremely cold looking now at the end of this month. This is next Monday. Some very frigid air in Siberia.
Good evening, I'm Gabby Gonzalez. Terry has the night off. We'll get to those stories in just a few minutes, but first, a line of storms is headed straight for our area with a severe thunderstorm watch now in effect for much of Michiana. Let's head right over to Mike Hoffman in the Storm Team 16 Weather Lab for an update on the conditions outside. Mike?
Thanks, Gabby. And in fact, it's in effect for our entire viewing area. Let's check out the Michigan City sky view real quick, 72 degrees. You've been having a ton of lightning, very heavy rain, but it is starting to let up a little bit there. Temperatures cooled down to 63 degrees at that spot. Another sky view shot you can see out of St. Joe. And you can see 67 degrees with a lot of lightning there as well. Just got a report of, in Michigan City, some large branches have come down, but at least no major damage so far. Here's the way things look on 16 Doppler Max. You can see the bowing part of the line right there. That's the concern anytime you see a part bowing out like that, because that's typically where the severe weather is probably going to occur. And that's what we're concerned about, is the potential of damaging winds. Lightning, a lot of problems there as well, as you can see, and that's going to continue to cause a problem. We do have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning out just issued for Elkhart County, St. Joseph County, and southern Cass County in southwestern Michigan. So that is with this line. Let's zoom in on this. Now, there is weak rotation there. Don't be too concerned about that. We aren't really talking about a tornado in this situation. It's not out of the question of a small tornado, but generally we are dealing with a line of severe thunderstorms with up to 60-mile-per-hour winds. So we'll track this out at about 45 miles per hour, and you can see it would be into Berrien Springs in about 12 minutes, South Bend in 18 minutes, Cassopolis 33 minutes, and Dunlap in about 47 minutes. So we'll continue to watch this storm. It's going to be coming right through the metro area, and probably one of the strongest parts of the storm will be coming through the metro area as well. Doesn't look quite as strong in our southern counties. You folks may get away with no severe weather out of this one, but we'll have to watch it just in case. But the northern areas over the next hour and a half, we're going to have to watch it pretty closely. We'll be back with our forecast coming up.
Mike, thanks.
Outages in several areas. Kate Chappell is standing by in South Bend with a live report of some of the damage. Kate?
Well, Tricia, it was definitely quick storms last night, but in some cases causing quite a bit of damage. We asked viewers to send us in pictures from all over the area. Some situations much worse than others. Just take a look behind me where those strong, loud winds actually caused a tree to uproot and fall into this home, bringing a power line down with it. In this case, thankfully, there were no injuries. No one was home at the time of the storm. It all took place late last night around 11. The real winds only lasting about a half hour. Again, in this case, there isn't much damage except some exterior issues. The tree did go through the porch, knocking out a few AC units, loosening a few of those gutters. Really not much interior damage to report. And again, if there is going to be a bright side here, it's never fun to clean up after storm damage, but they are thankful that no one was home during the time of the storm.
Well, I got back and it was dark, and I didn't even really notice it until I started to turn in and my lights hit it, and I'm just like, what, seriously? I mean, I just started on this job and I hadn't thought, 2 days in I'd already have a tree down on a house. So, I was definitely surprised, but got to deal with it.
Now, we did have the chance to speak with a neighbor just a few minutes ago. They told us they heard the tree collapse last night. They live around the corner, so they didn't actually see it, but they heard it from about a block down. Said it sounded like a firecracker and a loud pop. I'd imagine a very frightening experience. Those strong, loud winds probably kept quite a few people up from that little pocket of time last night. Now, just as a reminder, the power is still out in this neighborhood, and I know in several other areas as well. Tricia?
I can only imagine how noisy that was.
Plus, lake effect snow dropped several inches in some places all across Michiana, but when will the snow stop falling?
And I'm Mike Hoffman in the Weather Lab. Obviously, we're looking at 3 bands of lake effect snow now as that one intense band is broken up a little bit. We'll have details on what's in store for us this evening coming up.
From WNDU, your breaking news and weather authority, this is Newscenter 16 at 5.
Good evening, I'm Maureen McFadden.
And I'm Terry McFadden. The snow has hit on one of the biggest travel days of the year.
And the colder temperatures are here to stay. Take a look at our Skyview 16 camera over the Notre Dame campus right now.
Now, the snow started late last night and has blanketed streets and lawns. And it's causing crashes on the always treacherous bypass. More than a dozen trucks and cars slid into each other in the westbound lanes near the Elm Road exit this afternoon.
The crashes backed up lanes of the bypass all the way to State Road 19 in Elkhart County, and the slide-offs don't stop there.
Mike Hoffman's in the Weather Lab monitoring the cold, snowy weather. And Mike, when will we see some relief from all this?
Well, right now we're seeing the winds slowly shifting around from northwest to west, and that will tend to break up these bands of lake effect snow as we head through the later parts of the evening. Should be pretty much over by the middle of the night, let's say 2 or 3 a.m. as everything kind of shifts off to the east and falls apart. But you can see right now we are looking at 3 main bands of snow. The main one that was one intense band is broken up now, and so we can kind of see a couple of bands there. One of them into our eastern areas like Cassopolis, Cass County, into Elkhart County as well, and then a new third band kind of developing there in eastern LaPorte County into parts of Marshall and Stark County. So that's the setup at the moment, and we're going to continue to see these lake effect snow bands for this evening coming southeastward. But when you start to get 3 bands of snow instead of one intense band, you tend to spread out the snow and it doesn't come down quite as hard like it was earlier in the afternoon.
Newscenter 16's Tricia Hart joins us live from South Bend. So Trish, things aren't looking too good for those planning to hit the road right after getting off work.
We know right now we have a little bit of that darkness coming in, although it has stopped snowing out here. And if you were on the roads earlier today, you know it was poor visibility and we have that lingering snow on the ground. But while the weather may be pretty unpredictable in our area at this time of year, you can count on the fact that there's going to be people getting on the toll roads, driving on their way to Thanksgiving plans, or packing into their airports. And while we do get some lake effect snow, it has slowed people down, but definitely has not stopped them on their way to getting to Thanksgiving.
You never know what the weather's going to be like.
planes, trains, and automobiles.
A lot of people are driving slower.
Millions moving through airports nationwide face delays from winter weather.
Midway was really packed. Yeah, there was just a lot of holiday travel going on, like everyone coming home.
But those flying in and out of South Bend Airport left with relative ease.
It was not bad, actually. Chicago, we caught like the first 2 days of the snow, and it was really light, nothing compared to this.
We have thousands of people that are flying through or traveling through the South Bend Airport today, and everybody has been in great spirits. People have been able to take off to get to their destinations.
South Bend Airport added more than 5 outbound flights to meet demands. A similar move made by the South Shore Line, which added additional eastbound trains to reduce crowding. Most Thanksgiving travel will be done by cars packed full of families.
And it was a little sketchy in the morning.
And more parents are turning to games and movies to keep their kids occupied as they keep their eyes on the road.
Give them something to do. There's fun games you can play together as a family.
Right now, music, the children's story music, and I'm going to take them to play afterwards. I told them to take them to Chuck E. Cheese.
I use a portable DVD player because I have a 2-year-old son at home, and whenever we're in the car for longer than an hour, he always has to have something to keep him busy.
Now, if you are hitting the roadways tonight, it is going to get dark pretty soon. And just to keep a heads up, if you are driving, gas prices this Thanksgiving are actually lower than they were last year. And people using gas station applications on their smartphones are finding even cheaper gas. So keep that in mind as you're hitting the highway looking to see which stations have the best way to save some dollars and cents, which, as we all know, is very important at this time of year.
Absolutely, Trish. So for people leaving late tonight for their Thanksgiving travel, will the roads be any better?
Well, right now, actually, on my way down here, I saw several snow plows still out clearing off those excess roadways, but police are reminding folks that the roads aren't going to be 100% perfect for driving conditions. There might be some slush, some potential black ice tonight as it gets colder, so just keep going slow, make sure to exercise patience, and just drive as safely as possible, especially when it gets a little darker out tonight.
Right. Thanks for the update, Tricia, and stay warm.
When you hear a tornado siren, what do you do?
Well, at home I would check the TV if it's not already on and see what kind of time limit they're giving me.
We look for a place of security, like the fire department right down the street.
While the sirens mean danger, that doesn't necessarily mean that a tornado warning is in effect.
And that's the individual community's decision to set the sirens off, but that's usually a pretty good indication that you need to be taking shelter.
When your weather radio goes off, then you know there's an official warning, and we'll be tracking storms with 16 Doppler Max to let you know what's coming your way. The National Weather Service is also tracking the storms and using some revised rules this year to decide whether to actually issue a tornado warning.
We kind of use a 2 out of 3 rule. We want to have at least a favorable environment, a good signature on radar, or a confirmation from a spotter. And so if 2 of those 3 are in play, that's usually a good basis by which to go off of before you're going to pull the trigger on a tornado warning. So WarnGen is the software that we used.
Also new this year is what's called impact-based warnings for tornadoes. There will be additional information tagged to it every time. There will basically be 4 levels of tornado warnings now. The lowest level would be a Doppler radar indicated warning. That means the rotation appears strong enough that a tornado could form at any time. The next level up is when a tornado is actually seen by trained spotters or law enforcement personnel. This means a tornado is now confirmed and moving through the warning area. Once a tornado is confirmed and it appears to be a large damaging tornado, there are 2 more levels. The first is a considerable damage threat. This would let you know we are probably dealing with an EF2 tornado or higher. And finally, if a large tornado is headed toward a populated area, the National Weather Service would add a tag of catastrophic damage threat.
With the near historic number of tornadoes that were observed in 2011, there was a lot of post-survey interviews with social scientists to try and get an idea of how the public reacts to warnings.
Well, typically I'll go look at the radar myself, and if I think it's a severe enough situation, then I'll go to a more secure location.
And with the new telecasting, it seems like they can predict them a lot closer,
direct the path a lot more what towns it's kind of coming to.
It was indicating that the public is usually looking for 2 confirmations of the tornado being in existence before they would take action. And so we're hoping that with our ability to issue a warning based on what we're seeing on radar and then getting confirmed reports and adding that information into our warnings, that will hopefully heighten the awareness of the public and motivate them to take action. And so with these bullet formats, will make it easier for the public and media to just parse out that information.
Is it the feeling of the National Weather Service that this would help save more lives?
Correct. And we're hoping that this will prompt the public to be more proactive in taking the necessary precautions to protect their life. The purpose of the impact-based warning experiment is to heighten your awareness for life-threatening situations, but it's not designed to de-emphasize any warnings. Every warning should be taken seriously, but it enables us to communicate a level of certainty and a level of threat and risk to you that exists within the different types of tornadic storms.
Not enough moisture for these corn plants, that's for sure.
Last summer, the dry soil was created by extreme heat and very little rain. It really stressed our corn crop. Ed Leiniger has been farming since the 70s. He was not hopeful last July.
Anything short of a miracle, I would be surprised if this does make anything.
Today's soil on Leiniger's farm is moist and the temperatures are great for growing corn.
This year we're sweating because it's humid and wet. This is what the corn needs. It's 80-degree weather and it's flourishing right now.
Yeah, because last year, like you said, belt buckle high in a lot of cases.
Yeah, and this year it's over our heads. Yeah,
7-8 feet up there. And for Leiniger, it's a welcome sight to see the growth of his crop. Although it was planted 2 weeks later than last year, it was right on time for the average year.
Last year we had, at this point, we had corn that was fired up. The leaves were pretty well burned up. The corn was about half this tall. And this year it's flush and green.
And a check of the stalks shows Mother Nature is helping our area farmers relax.
The ear will come out about right in here because you can kind of feel it in the stalk where it's inside there. And then the tassels will be coming out up here. This is what pollinates the corn, makes the kernels. Yeah, you can see it there now. There it is.
Oh, there it is. Wow, that was way down in there.
So that's got to come out yet. So you give it another week of weather like this here, it'll be out.
If everything keeps going, this is going to be a bumper crop of corn this year. But if the entire country has a bumper crop, prices go way down. So Ed will store his corn in bins like this and sell it later when the price goes up.
But normally, you know, you can store it over a year, you know, if you aerate it and take care of it.
And a plentiful harvest of corn will also help all of us at the grocery store.
Grain prices stay down. The livestock producers should be able to keep their numbers up, which would cause more supply of meat and milk products. They can afford to feed $5 corn, where last year $8 corn got kind of expensive. So from that viewpoint, it should be a little less expensive for the consumers.
And with a third of his business tied up in soybeans, Leiniger is also keeping an eye on their growth.
They're starting to blossom, so they'll shoot blossoms for quite some time. And some of them will abort and some of them will make pods. And if the weather's right, they make pods. And the right weather is kind of like what we've got now. Last year, even the beans were rolled up at this point, you know. By 9 o'clock in the morning, the leaves were all curled up.
The sounds of 2012 are still fresh in Ed Leiniger's mind, but he hopes Mother Nature can keep doing what she has been doing this season.
We're more on time this year. Last year we were pollinating early, and between the first and second week is when we normally hit pollination, so we're getting close. We still have July and to get through pollination, and then some rains in August for ear fill and stuff like that yet. It's pretty critical yet, so we've got a good start, but we're looking at, you know, we still got 6 weeks we got to be, you know, worried about getting a decent crops.
We produce roughly 100,000 ducks a week, and as you know, part of that is going to be a waste product. The waste product in the past we was actually selling back for pet food.
Today, that waste doesn't go into pet food. It goes into this.
It's just being stirred up like a big blender is the concept, but a lot slower.
This overgrown kitchen appliance is known as a digester.
We mix stuff from the processing plant, we mix the waste from the processing plant, and other byproduct into what I call a reception pit, and that gets pumped into the digester, and I have 3 big agitators that stir it up, and that helps create the methane gas.
Bugs inside this clean green vessel do the dirty work, breaking down the waste into a valuable gas.
And the methane gas, once that's created, goes to my 3 generators and run the generators, and that produces electricity which goes right to the grid.
At full capacity, these generators will produce 1.2 megawatts of electricity. That's enough to power the entire Culver Duck facility, plus more than 100 homes.
So the roughly 18 tons a day that was going to pet food is now going to generate electricity. Right now we're selling all the electricity that we generate back to the NIPSCO grid, supplying electricity not only for our processing plant, for homes in this area also.
While methane may be the most valuable of the byproducts, it isn't the only one. Every day it spits out what is known as soil enhancement.
Soil enhancement, it's like a good starter fertilizer. It's good in nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, potash, stuff like that. So good for plants, lawns, local farmers.
The final byproduct? Water, cleaned on site by nature.
The waste that's left over from the digester goes into the wetlands, and that goes through some filtrating systems, then gets cleaned up through cattails and other grasses. It goes into our lagoons, then that goes right out to the pivots, which irrigates the farm fields.
Fields that will eventually provide feed for ducks, thus completing this sustaining cycle.
It speaks to the quality of Culver Duck and what we're willing to do to sustain the future.
In Elkhart County, Frank Waugh, Newscenter 16.
Meet the brown marmorated stink bug. They come from Asia and were first found in the U.S. in eastern Pennsylvania around the year 2000. From there, they have spread all along the eastern seaboard and westward, now inviting themselves into our homes.
They mistakenly look at our homes and think they're a hollow tree, which is how they overwinter in the wild. And they come in between the walls and stay there over the winter months.
The bugs are harmless to us. They don't bite or sting, but as many of us know from trying to squish them, and as their name suggests, well, they stink.
It is a defensive mechanism. The stink bug accumulates an oil in their system that keeps predators away from them.
So how do we keep them out of our homes?
Well, the bad news is that they are immune to most of the pesticides that are out there on the market. Because pesticides don't work that well, we're left with things like plugging up holes that they can enter the house. Also things like plugging holes in screen windows, and basically caulking, that sort of thing, to keep them from entering the living quarters.
And if it's not bad enough that these guys are invading our homes, they're also a huge threat to agriculture, corn, soybeans, and all kinds of fruit.
And as it moves here and builds up its population, it will become a bigger pest here in Indiana. This year, the first time we've seen any crop damage in the state of Indiana has been here in Elkhart County in a soybean field. We've also found some in some sweet corn fields in the area. This particular pest, when it feeds, has a pointy mouthpiece that's kind of like a hypodermic needle. It will stick that through the pod or in through the husk of the corn and literally puncture that and then suck the juice out. That's how it feeds. Unfortunately in corn, when that happens, you may not even know it's happened until you husk that corn. You pull back that husk and suddenly you notice that there's a bunch of popped kernels. With beans, you can sort of tell. It's the beans that usually have a dark spot on the exterior, and the bean will be shriveled on the inside.
And your backyard garden is at risk too. This is a tomato from my yard in South Bend.
These little spots are presumably from the stink bug feeding. They will stick their little proboscis into this tomato and then suck the juice out.
If the stink bugs are still new to this area, what can we expect in the future?
Well, anytime you get a new pest in an area, the first thing that happens is their population just explodes, and that's what we're seeing now, and it'll probably continue like this for probably another 4 or 5 years. We'll see the population peak, and as the local normal insects that we have around here learn how to deal with this pest, the population will begin to die back. But it will probably be 5, 6, maybe 10 years before we see that population actually go backwards.